I am going totally impromptu. I've had a lot of questions from clients, and I figured these are women just like you, 40 to 55, just trying to feel good in their body again. I'm like, why don't I give you my top questions I have answered this week from my clients and share that information with you? Let's go to one of the first ones. All right, so the question was, is it bad to eat a lot of protein in one sitting? This client was at the end of her day, she hadn't gotten to her threshold of like 90 to 100 grams of protein. And she's like, is it okay to eat like 60 grams of protein in one sitting? And here's the deal. Your body will absorb and use all the protein you eat, but how it actually uses it really depends. About 20 to 40 grams of that protein is going to get prioritized for muscle building, and all the extras is going to get used for other important stuff. Other important stuff can be like hormone production, enzymes, immune function, and cellular repairs. It's not wasted. Your body's smart. It will do what it needs to do. Overall, the best strategy is to distribute your protein over your day and spread it out. But yeah, there's no issue with eating a lot of protein in one sitting. I just say don't make that your regular habit, because from a digestive standpoint, it may not feel very good in your belly, but from a cellular standpoint, your body's going to do what your body needs to do in using that protein. Bottom line, it's fine occasionally, but for best results, try to spread out your protein over your 3 to 4 meals. That means like 3 meals and a snack, and keep it to a range. I don't like clients to obsess about a specific number. I'm just like, okay, let's get in a little zone. And that zone ideally is somewhere between like 90 to 120 grams of protein. It all depends on the person, their body type, and their activity levels. In general, that's a good zone to be in to have adequate protein in your diet on a daily basis. The next question was, how should I eat at a restaurant and stay on track? My clients are working on losing weight. My advice is, first of all, it depends on how often you eat out at a restaurant. If you're eating out twice a week, 3 times a week, my advice is going to be different than someone who is going out once a month, once in a blue moon. If you're that once a month, once in a blue moon person, I'm honestly going to say, don't sweat it. Enjoy your dinner out, but have a little bit of awareness. Don't go there going buck wild, having margaritas and desserts in the full bread basket, because everything adds up. It's just not going to feel good. And if you've already had a full day of food, then yeah, that's going to be very heavy on your system. For my folks, that many of us, we might eat out once or twice a week. That's where you have to be cautious. This is what my strategy is when I go into a restaurant. First of all, you're going to have to let go of that bread basket. That's not saying I am an anti-carb girl, but they are setting you up for health failure with that bread basket, because they know you're sitting down and you're probably hungry already. You're going to already start filling yourself up with those carbohydrates that are spiking your blood sugar and making you hungrier. When you go in for a dinner, first of all, if you can, skip the bread basket. Stick to your main meal. Also, avoid appetizers, because that is just extra calories. When it comes to drinks, water. I know, I'm boring. I'm real boring. But look, I'm not anti-alcohol, but there is a realization that over 40, we start metabolizing that alcohol a lot differently, especially if you are in a fat loss phase that you're really trying to lose weight. If you can just keep it down to 0 alcohol or just 1 glass, keep it to that. As for the food itself, think protein. All right? Whether you are plant-based or you're an omnivore, a meat eater, the first thing you want to do is focus purely on getting a good protein in. A chicken, a lean beef, a fish, whatever it is. Then making sure that they pair that with a vegetable. And when you're eating your plate, go in that order also. Fill yourself up with the protein first, then the veggies, and then if there's like a rice or a heavier, starchier carbohydrates, then go for that last and keep it to a small portion, especially those heavier carbohydrates. By doing that, you're going to keep your meal leaner. Also, beware of sauces, heavy like cream sauces. If you can, keep that sauce to the side. What else am I missing with eating out? Oh, hello. I know we get in the habit that we're like, oh, I just had this lovely dinner out. I need to have something sweet. Let me have some dessert. Look, boo, you have to let that dessert go and find an alternative. Sit there and have tea or just a little decaf coffee. You've got to retrain habits because I know I've been there, y'all, and I'm still there. You go to dinners and you expect it to make it something special. You're like, let me add that little dessert because it's a special evening. If you do that too often, that stuff adds up really, really fast. Another fantastic question I had was, is intermittent fasting bad for women over 40? Ooh, child, this is a controversial one because most of the women that are asking me about intermittent fasting is for weight loss purposes. If you're already in a program with me or any type of weight loss program, you are going to be put on a calorie and macro split that is set up for calorie deficit. IF normally is used to create calorie restriction because you eat within a shorter window. And that way, honestly, we don't need IF. IF, if you're doing it on a daily basis, is known to increase cortisol, stress hormones in women. I do not recommend IF for women over 40 because we don't need anything else stressing our bodies out. Here's the deal. This is where I come to a middle ground with IF. I like to use intermittent fasting as a digestive tool. There's going to be a moment you've had a heavy dinner or you enjoyed a pizza night with your kids. The next morning you wake up, you're not hungry. In my eyes, this is where you use, if you want to call it IF, or I just call it body awareness, you wait until your body actually says it's hungry. Instead of going, oh, well, everyone tells me I should eat breakfast. If you wake up and you still feel that your body is processing the food from last night, and you know that feeling I'm talking about. Your belly feel a little bit bloated. It's just everything's still full in there. Waiting those extra hours is helpful digestively for your body. You just wait until later instead of stuffing yourself with extra calories that you don't need. Women over 40 really don't need IF in terms of it increasing our cortisol levels, but in terms of taking 1 or 2 days out of the week to let your digestive system relax and do its work, then that's a great way of using intermittent fasting. Another question, why am I not seeing weight loss even though my food looks clean and healthy? Clean and healthy is relative to the individual. I could just take you guys through loads of food tracking journals that I go through. And here's the thing. Clean and healthy foods does not mean that you're eating in the proper portion size or that you're eating the right amount of calories. And most of the time right now, sadly enough, when I get clients in, they're not eating enough calories. Yes. They feel, oh, well, why am I not losing weight? It's because you're not giving your body what it needs to know that it's safe to lose weight. Your body is just clinging on to that fat for goodness sake. I've made a video about that. If you want to go look at it, it's all about reverse dieting and how to use that to get your metabolism started again. This is one of the reasons you might not be losing weight even though you're eating healthy. Either it's your portion size, okay? That means that you're getting in too many calories, or you're just not eating enough. The third thing is, even though you're eating clean and healthy, maybe you're not getting in enough protein. Those three elements can have a big influence on why, but I would always have to dig straight into your journal to give you a direct answer of what is not working for you. How important is sodium when it comes to bloating and weight loss? Ooh, mamma mia. Sodium, sodium, sodium. This is a good one because when you start reading and seeing how much sodium is in foods, you will just fall off your chair. The daily recommended maximum for sodium in a day is somewhere around 2,400, 2,500 milligrams of sodium per day. When you are going over that on a consistent basis, your body is going to feel it and see it on the scale. If I see a client suddenly plateau or gain some weight in a week, but I'm like, oh, but they still look like they're eating healthy, I immediately start looking into their journal to go, okay, well, where is this possible sodium water weight coming in? If you end up having 3 to 4 days of consistently high sodium in your diet, that's going to make your body hold on to water, especially if you're not hydrating enough. This is how sodium contributes greatly to your weight loss. You've got to start being aware of foods. So the foods that are high in sodium, first of all, any type of processed meat, super high in sodium, jerkies, even soups. You know, if you can take control and make your own soups, you can control how much salt in them. It's amazing when you use something like MyFitnessPal. I like to use MyFitnessPal not as just a tracking tool, but more as a planning tool. When you plan these meals out and start seeing how salt adds up for you, you create a better awareness and know how to line up your sodium better during your day. Ooh, here's a good one, and it has to do with working out. How do I know if I am lifting heavy enough in my workouts? More or less, this is how I tell my clients. If you are doing a set of an exercise, by the time you get to those last 2 to 3 repetitions, they should feel a little bit tough, like you're struggling to keep your form. That's how you know if you are lifting heavy enough. Another rule of thumb is, let's just say you pick up a weight and you're doing a row. If you can do like 20, 30 reps of that weight, then that means you're not lifting heavy enough. If you choose a good weight, you're going to be somewhere between 8 to 12 rep range, depending on what the exercise is. That's how you know if you are lifting heavy enough. If you can just throw that baby around for 20, 30 times, it's time to just go up just a smidge. Warning, because for me, in the online environment, it's really, really tough because I am a stickler for form. My background is in corrective exercise and functional movement. Form is more important than the weight. If you feel that you're curling that back over and you can't keep a straight spine and all of your technique is lost because you've gone up in weight, then you keep that weight down. Safety always first. One of the questions also is, I'm afraid I am going over on my carbs and my fats, and more particular on fats. This is a client in a weight loss phase. She is plant-based and her calories are set at 1,600 with protein 25%, carbs 40%, and fat at 35%. I am going to be honest with you. When I am looking at her journal, I'm more concerned that she's staying within a calorie deficit right now for her body and keeping her protein intact. If I go through her journal where she was like, but I'm so afraid of the fat, unless I am seeing crazy, saturated, ugly fats, there's nothing wrong with having good fat in your diet, especially if whatever you're eating in terms of the fats going over, that you're still within the calorie target that you need to be in for that fat loss phase. The calories are most important in this phase. When you are getting in healthy fats, they are good for your body. We have gotten so scared of fat because of that whole fat-free period that we went through in the 80s and 90s, I guess. Healthy fats are good for you. If I see olive oil, avocado, nuts, and seeds, that's the good stuff, y'all. Keep eating it as long as you are not going over in terms of your calories. Because even though I hate the word, but yes, you do have to be in a calorie deficit in order to lose weight. Again, this is from a girls who want to lose weight. I'm not talking about body recomposition. These are folks that are working on losing like 30 pounds or more. When we're talking about body recomposition, these are my girls that are under 15 or 10 pounds that they're trying to lose. And at that point, the whole discussion changes. Anyhow, those are some of the questions I got this week. I invite you, drop in the comments below. What are some of the questions that you have, burning questions in terms of your health or your weight loss journey that I can answer for you? I think I will try doing this again and just sharing what my clients are asking, because I know it's helpful for you. You know what I'm realizing? My little guy has just jumped all up in the video. Anyway, it wasn't a planned video, so we're just gonna let life flow as life flows. Make sure to check whatever next video YouTube recommends to you, and keep moving, keep glowing, and never forget, you are strong, sexy, and unstoppable.